On behalf of the state of California,
She's guilty.
the LSPD, and the victim's grieving family, we are requesting that the charges stuck to report 18132 on Mr. John Amiri do stick. The following charges would be abuse of public office, obstruction of justice, official misconduct, reckless endangerment, second-degree murder, unlawful discharge. And now we would like to keep the charge listed failure to appear in court. Originally, we had not planned to charge Mr. Amiri with this charge, but considering he did show up to the courthouse almost an hour after it was scheduled and wasted the time of me, you, the citizens, the jury, everyone else, we are requesting that the failure to appear in court is also to be charged. And we would like to say that, for a quick rundown of our reasons, second-degree murder was for the intentional killing of the suspect in custody, abuse of public office for not using the powers granted to him correctly as an LEO in accordance with the laws, but instead for a self-seeking purpose, unlawful discharge for an unlawful discharge of his firearm when no threat was present, obstruction of justice for interfering with the justice system and making sure the suspect was not given a fair and adequate trial in our legislature, official misconduct for the willful neglect of his duties by processing and abusing his official power of executing the suspect, and reckless endangerment for recklessly shooting his firearm in a room filled with people, including his own co-workers and officers, and risking any serious injury to any of them in this situation. That is all.
Defendant's opening statement.
We are here on the behalf of Mr. John Amiri for a crime that he supposedly committed of murdering a said YTB gang member. And if you want honest opinions, yeah, you know, he probably shouldn't have done it if he did do it. But I think he did all of us a favor. That man went through hell that day. These gangs targeted a restaurant, man. Like, they're low people, you know? Targeted a restaurant out of all things, then shot up officers, man. They pushed him to the point, man. He's been on the force for years. A great cop, never issued. And it just got pushed to that edge. And as anyone here would, you know, see, if one of your brothers get killed, you're gonna want some sort of revenge. You know what I'm saying? And that's all I got for now.
Okay, now we'll ask the plaintiff side. I'll start with that side. Does have any witnesses at all or need to make any statements regarding questioning Mr. Amiri?
We do have witnesses that we'd like to call to the stand. First being Lieutenant Rome. We would like to call as our first witness.
Who needs Lieutenant Rome in this case on my right, in this case for him on his left, and he has to actually be sworn into.
Lieutenant Rome, how long have you been in your position as a lieutenant in LSPD?
A year and 10 months.
And do you know how long you have been working with Lieutenant Amiri?
I would say about 10 months, close to a year, a little bit over a year. Oh, he was a trooper before he became LSPD, so I would say the entire year and 10 months that I've been an LEO, he's been an active LEO.
Okay, so you've known him for about your whole year and 10 months?
Yes,
okay.
My entire time as a LEO.
Perfect. And have you've worked with him previously on different cases and active scenes?
Yes.
All right, perfect. And I do understand that you were the officer that wrote report number 18132 against Lieutenant Amiri. Is that correct?
Correct.
Can you please tell us your guidelines for writing this report? What you did?
Yes. So we had an officer that was involved in the situation or inside the room felt that it was not a great representation of what LSPD represents, and he brought it up to Lieutenant Tony Ma as an incident, as a formal incident. So at that point in time, Lieutenant Tony Ma brought it up to my attention, and I went ahead and started investigating and moving forward with the case. I went ahead and questioned the officers that were inside the room, questioned each individual officer, grabbed their witness statements. Everybody's witness statement was aligned, and with that said, I felt that a warrant needed to be issued for Lieutenant Amiri.
Okay. And can you please confirm with us the amount of officers that were on scene? How many
I
officers?
object to this.
How many officers were on scene? How many gave
I'm just
witness
kidding.
reports?
There's 5 officers on scene, and I grabbed 4 witness reports.
I have
And
an
we're all
objection.
for- And
Yes.
we're all
Give me
for
1
of
second.
those-
1 second. Yes, Dink.
So, this is all hearsay. Lieutenant Rome was not even there as a witness, and it doesn't seem like the officers that witnessed it are here.
We haven't got that far, sir. We have not called a witness that has given their witness testimony, but he is relevant because he is the one who produced the report on Lieutenant Amiri.
You'll have your time to question him in probably about like 2 minutes too.
Sounds good.
Proceed.
Sorry about that. Okay, so you said 5 were on site and you had 4 witness testimonies, and these were testimonies of 4 officers that were in the room and witnessed the events that happened. Is that correct?
Correct. While talking to the officers and grabbing their statement, 2 officers had body cam rolling during that time, and they were able to confirm the officers that were present inside the room.
Okay, perfect. Can you confirm the identity of the 4 officers that you got witness statements from?
That I got witness statements from? Yes. Officer Nick Adler, Officer Alex Sassel, Officer Jerkel Lincoln, Deputy Dion James. Or, sorry, Under Sheriff Dion James.
All right, perfect. And then you did mention that 2 officers did turn over their body cam from this this event. Can you confirm which 2 of those officers were able to provide their body cam?
One officer was able to provide it. The other officer did not. One officer is the one that I did get the body cam is an officer named Jerkel Lincoln. The
Okay,
other
thank
officer
you.
that does have body cam, but I did not obtain, was Officer Alex Sasso.
Okay, perfect. And did you have a chance to review that body cam in your investigation?
Yes, multiple times.
Can you please describe what you saw on this body cam?
Yes, inside the body cam. Inside the body cam, when I was given to it, I was analyzing able to appear to a YTB member that was
Holy
loud.
shit!
A YTB member
Holy
that
shit.
was survived surgery. The YTB member was being questioned by Under Sheriff Dion James.
Object. We've got a lot of, commotion going on right now. It's
Yeah.
hard to hear.
Yeah, we do. I don't want to have to take a recess, but fuck.
Yes, please.
It's
Wow.
alright, you're safe. You're safe.
You guys can proceed.
I'm just like calm down.
Like the 4th of July.
All right.
So
getting
I'll just start
serious.
over.
Thanks for
Just
on the
I'm
body
not sure what the jury was able to hear or not hear.
Shit is getting serious.
So what I was saying
they
was I
finna
went
get
ahead
up
and
here and get
received
the
the body cam, reviewed it a few times. What I witnessed is a YTB or a person identified as a YTB member dressed in an orange hoodie, survived surgery after getting in a shootout with police officers during a robbery at Up and Adam, per the officer's statements. When the suspect survived, Under Sheriff Dion James was questioning the suspect. While talking to him, Lieutenant Amiri walks into the room and said something to the point of, and it's in my report, kind of in disbelief that the individual survived. And he said that the guy shouldn't have survived, pulled out his service weapon and shot the individual in the face. And at that point is when the body cam cuts out.
Okay, Thank you for describing that. So then you are confirming that they all report that this incident did take place inside of the hospital room, locked away from the common area where regular citizens of the city go to get.
Yes, whenever an officer checks in an individual, they're going to a specific lockdown area up to once.
And
This
where
is
the
to
incident took
protect
place.
the suspects that did survive.
Okay, perfect. And then, can you tell me how that made you feel after as an officer, as a lieutenant in LSPD, how that made you feel after reviewing this body cam of your fellow officer treating a suspect in this way?
Yeah, I was disappointed in my fellow lieutenant. You know, we are here to serve and protect the citizens of Los Santos, and we're doing it with integrity. And his actions definitely did not show the integrity of what Los Santos Police Department stands for.
Thank you. And can you confirm with me what the proper procedure is in that point if you have a suspect that was involved in a robbery, survived surgery like that?
Yeah, proper procedure is once they survive surgery, you read that individual their rights, you know, just like we do for anyone else. Once you have read their rights, then you can go ahead and continue to ask them any questions, search the individual, make sure that they don't have any weapons on their person to go ahead and hurt you. At that point, that individual's life and you know, is in your hands. So now you have a civil duty to protect him and take him and escort them to police station, whether he's getting checked in at Davis, Rockford, MRPD, which is Mission Road Police Department, and then write out the report and sentence the individual.
And when you had seen this happen, did you fear that the actions taken by Lieutenant Amiri would display negatively towards impact LSPD in any single sort of way?
100%. It was in clear violation of policy, and not only that, I mean, the law, right? He shot and killed an individual. That's not even policy, right? At that point in time, he shot and killed the individual who was not a threat and handcuffed.
Thank you for clarifying that. I believe I have no further questions at this moment.
And one thing I do need to address: plaintiff and defendant side, neither side's supposed to have a phone. Like, neither side, no one in here is supposed to have a phone at all. No phones, no hats, nothing. And now, Mr. Hydank, you are able to question the current witness on the plaintiff's side, Mr. Lieutenant Rome.
All right. I have a few questions. You said your name's
Yes, sir.
Lieutenant Rome, Paris, Greece. I don't know where you're from, buddy. So you said you've been working with Lieutenant Amiri here for how long?
Ever since I've been on PD, I got hired on January of 2021, I believe.
Okay. You said he worked as highway before that. Am I correct?
I believe so. I know he was a LEO before that.
All right. So you would say he's had some serious, training and everything. He usually knows what he's doing, right?
I
Oh,
do need to add-
100%.
I do
He
need
is
to
a
add-
lieutenant.
I do need to add one note really quick. That would be considered his cousin. Perel Franklin is not counted in this. Sean Combs is not counted in this as well. And a Bradford, I forgot the name of that one. Family members of him.
All right. But you said still good. What you said? 10 months PD.
Yeah, around that time, Mr. Or I guess you could say Lieutenant Amiri was hired on for
Okay.
LSPD sometime about 10 months ago.
All right. Have you had any issues with Lieutenant Amiri in the past?
Personally, no.
Like you would say he's a pretty good cop, right?
Yes, I will say that.
Okay. And you would say he's trained with a firearm pretty well, right?
Yes, most of our police officers are.
Yeah, so if they take a shot in a room, they're probably gonna hit the target they're aiming for, not endangering others. Am I right?
If there's an active threat, yes.
All right. And you said the body cam of this cuts off right after he pulls the trigger and shoots the individual.
It cuts off once the individual is on the ground.
All right. So why is there? We don't know what happened after that. Why didn't it? What did the other cops do? You said there's multiple witnesses that witnessed this man do this.
Mm-hmm.
Am I correct?
There were, yes. They were in shock and didn't really speechless from the utter, display of uncared for life at that moment.
Uncare for life, or did they cheer him on?
I'm not aware, sir.
Yeah,
Again, the body cam cut off right there.
yeah. We don't know what happened after that. I've heard stories. Officers tend to brag about the kills they get when they kill fucking gangbangers and all that. We've all heard it. I'm sure everyone in this courthouse has heard a cop brag or once or twice. So who's to say that those cops weren't in shock when they were cheering him on?
I couldn't answer
Okay.
Jesus fucking Christ.
At this time, I got no more questions right now.
Now go in reverse order. Does the defendant side have any witnesses at all?
Yes, I do.
Lieutenant Rome, you're good to take your original seat.
that. Sounds good.
Ready to go up.
Attorney Dank, if you could have a witness.
I would like to call Lieutenant John Amiri to the stand.
Lieutenant John Mary.
Alright, sir, before you sit down, I need to swear you in. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Alright, sir. You're now sworn in. Yes.
Jesus. Am I all good?
You're all good.
Alright, how you doing, Mr. Amiri? You looking sharp, all nicely dressed, huh? You having a good day?
I've had better.
Alright. So, you were at scene, you're the accused of doing this. How would you say, do you recall this night?
Yes, I do.
Alright. And how would you say these, when you pulled up to the burger shop, you want to explain what happened?
Yes. So I was at Rockford PD, and we received a call for a disturbance at Up and Adam, and I got in my vehicle and I was talking with a few officers in the garage, and we left the station and proceeded to respond to the code 2, or what we call a lights only call. And right about when I make that left turn to leave the station, the other officers were on scene and they were sending distress signals, which indicates that there was some severe incident going on at Up and Adam. At that point, we stepped up our response, and by the time I arrived on scene, there were multiple dead officers in the middle of the road on Vinewood Boulevard, and cars were all over the place. People were running around, hysterical, yelling that there's shots going on, and the radio traffic was pretty crazy as well.
Okay, so you arrived on scene. You already had your fellow officers down. You see them down on the ground, right?
That's right.
And you would say these fellow officers, you would consider them
I think
family,
there's a dead
am I
guy
right?
back here.
You guys are
Yes.
a pretty tight-knit group. You see one of them, you always got their back. You're always trying to help each other.
Yes.
So how did you feel when you seen these fellow officers
Oh my God,
down
there is
on
a
the
dead
ground?
guy.
I'm assuming shot up. They were unconscious at least.
Well, I couldn't really tell the exact extent of how many officers were down. My focus at the time was really getting to the back of the restaurant and securing the building. And I was on radio directing officers, where the shots were coming from and where to go.
Okay. Did you have to open fire on any individuals when you got there?
Not immediately.
All right, but on the property, maybe.
Once I went
were
inside,
all the suspects down or no?
no, there was still active gunfire by the time we showed up.
Okay. So you got into a little gunfight, adrenaline's going. Am I right?
That's right.
All right. So, you down, officers. Scene's pretty, calmed down and whatnot. You get to the hospital. I can imagine. How did you feel when you seen this man's face after the doctor so carefully took care of him and he survived?
Well, after I responded initially to the scene, I went to the back of the restaurant near the back door, and the back door was actually barricaded, and I could not get in. Um, at the time, officers were, you know, yelling over the radio that there were people in the back alleyway, and I was in the back near the back door, and I could clearly see there was nobody in the back. So I was using my radio to try to direct the officers on scene on what to do, where to go. I was telling them to go to the front of the building, stack up on the front two doors, and that there was nobody in the back. At the same time, I was let in by an employee inside the restaurant who opened the back door. After going inside, I was telling them repeatedly to, you know, to put their hands up and to get out of the way. And at that point, it was clear where the shots were coming from. The inside the bathroom, the male bathroom.
So to be clear, you made sure the employees were out of harm's way. You worried about them first.
Yeah, the priority was to get the to put the shooter down as fast as possible before they could kill more people.
All right, sounds good. Keep going to keep
once we realized that there was only one shooter remaining, and they were barricaded inside the bathroom.
My least favorite cop,
this
you know
fucking
that?
We asked the employees
So
to
it's a
favorite
redhead
cop.
that's
lock the other
always
doors,
fucking getting
and
caught
I
up.
was
They don't
instructing
know how to commit a
officers
crime, get
to
away with it.
damn train their attention.
There's no way
my
you
favorite.
actually made that.
He's
Bro,
my
am I
favorite,
really
bro.
the
At
only
that
person
point,
that made it?
we had an officer, Officer Richie.
What the fuck?
He tried to set up for a breach by deploying a flashbang, so we can make entry in the bathroom. And I was negotiating, yelling through the door with the suspect to surrender, repeatedly telling himself to give himself up, that he had already killed so many people. And the suspect was yelling, saying that he was not going to give up, that he was going to go out shooting, and that he had already killed too many people.
No, you don't deserve.
After
You don't
approaching
deserve to go to
about
jail.
5 minutes of negotiation, Officer Richie decided to deploy a flashbang through the door, and while doing so, he exposed himself to the shooter's line of fire. And right before he was about to go in, he threw the flashbang, and the suspect shot through the door and killed him immediately.
I'm assuming a fatal blow probably to the head.
Yeah, he died about 3 to 5 feet in front of me,
Oh, man.
and his brains were completely splattered all over the floor.
Man, I could only imagine seeing that.
At that point, I decided to, I believe, Under Sheriff James was on scene, and he had flashbangs.
Sorry, I have to stop you for 1 second. All jurors, I need you guys to stand up for a second and just at least spin around. Don't want you guys to be poofed out of the city for any reason. Anyone who's in here, plaintiff's side as well. Don't want that to
Jesus.
All right, yeah, let's proceed this.
Your Honor, can I proceed?
that you can proceed.
At that point, Under Sheriff James with the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department showed up, and he was. I was telling the other officers to hold their fire and stop shooting at the door, and that I was trying to instruct officers to get a shield to assist with breaching. After it was clear that no officers on scene had a shield in the back of their vehicle, we made the decision to try to deploy another flashbang. And I believe, to the best of my knowledge, it was Under Sheriff James that threw the flashbang inside the door. It landed perfectly inside the front entrance, and as soon as I heard the explosion, based on my training, I instinctively pushed inside, engaged the gunman, and took him down.
All right. You were the first one that pushed in. You're saying?
That's right. I pushed in with my rifle, and I unloaded probably about 12 or 15 shots into him before he went down.
Putting your body on the line. Okay, understandable.
Yes, at that point it was clear that the shooting and situation was over, and all efforts were made to handcuff the people involved and to get medical treatment for everybody else.
All right. I'm assuming after that, AMR, someone picks him up, takes him to the hospital.
I don't believe AMR was available at the time. What I do remember is inside the bathroom, there were two Up and Atom employees that were killed as well by running into the bathroom thinking it was a safe place to go, and they were dead on the floor right in front of the door when I first entered the bathroom.
Rest in peace to them guys. Okay. So let's skip ahead a little. They're transported to Pillbox. At which point did you arrive there?
I arrived to Pillbox late. I was busy handcuffing and body bagging the dead individuals in the bathroom. I was not aware at the time that the suspect had been transported to Pillbox. I thought that based on his injuries and the lack of his lack of response that he was surely dead.
Okay. So somehow this individual manages to survive, and you see him. How do you feel?
Well, at first I was honestly surprised he survived because I shot about 12 to 15 rounds of my rifle into him. And inside the bathroom, he surely did not seem like he was alive at all.
So you're still a little shocked seeing this individual survive. The individual that just murdered plenty of your brothers and even innocent restaurant employees.
That's right.
All right. So let's. What happened when supposed gun was pulled out? You seen the individual. Somehow he gets shot down. What happened here? Tell me what you were feeling. We need to know it all.
Well, when I entered the room and I saw the suspect standing there handcuffed, surrounded by multiple officers, my first reaction was of surprise, but it's quickly turned into contempt and anger towards the fact that he did live.
Right. So
He
go ahead, sir.
Being that he was surrounded by multiple officers, and he was handcuffed, I was thinking about the other officers that were killed in front of me and all the people that have been killed at the scene, and the fact that there were at least half a dozen, if not more, bodies related to what him and his fellow YTB members were responsible for.
Okay, so some anger, like you said, you went through a traumatic situation. I can understand the feelings. How have you been since that night? Seeing all this craziness, brothers' heads getting blown off, innocent people dead. Like, how have you been since then? How have your days been? You've been sleeping good.
Not really sleeping too well.
You've been having a little bit of nightmares and whatnot.
Some cold sweats.
Sounds like some effects of PTSD, if you ask me.
Waking up with a racing elevated heart rate, cold sweats.
So you'll say your life has changed for the worst since this situation? You've been put through a lot.
Yes.
All right. Do you have anything else to say about the situation at hand that happened?
Point to this?
Anything missing out, or are we all good?
No, we're good.
All right, all right. I'll end my my stuff here, and we may proceed.
Before the plaintiff's questioning, there is one body cam. I believe there's more than one body cam that can be used, but only one is being approved to be used from the point of view in the hospital. It's the only one that can be used. All the jurors are getting that body cam footage as well. And if you do want that footage from the defendant's side, I can send you that too. I do have to ask you that. You can answer that question before the plaintiff's side does have questioning to defendant, Mr. Amiri.
Yeah. You can send it over.
Okay, the plaintiff's side, you can begin questioning to defendant.
Alright. So we start this out with how long have you been an active officer in any rank in this city?
Long time.
Would you mind clarifying how long time is, even if it's a range?
I don't know the exact amount of time. I didn't really have an official swearing in ceremony, but I would say at least 2 years.
Okay, understood. So that is definitely a good amount of time. Can you describe us how many promotions you've received and how many different ranks you've held throughout your 2-year journey?
I don't have that information sitting here today.
Okay, but can you confirm with me that to reach the position you're in as a lieutenant, that you do have to have a lot of experience in different positions and a general deep understanding of procedures, policies, and laws in the state of California?
I would say that's fair.
Okay. So as you described this scene that played out at Up and Adam, of course, you did witness a lot of tragic and harsh things go on. Would you say this happens often in your line of duty?
I mean, it happens. I don't know if I would say often.
Would you mind describing to us on a daily basis what it is you deal with as a lieutenant?
Well, depends on the day. Sometimes some days I'll be out on the streets, making traffic stops, responding to calls. Some days it'll be more, more time at the station, dealing with some incidents with other officers.
And would you say in those 2 years, this is not your first time on a scene with active shooting and a downed officer?
That's right.
And how often would you say that you've had to apprehend a criminal who has posed a threat to you or the life of your other fellow officers?
Can you repeat the question?
Absolutely. How often would you say you've had to apprehend a suspect that has posed a threat to either you or your fellow officers?
How long have I, or how
No,
often?
how often would you say?
Fairly regularly.
Okay, so we can definitely say that you approach the scene with a firm understanding of these situations and experience firsthand in these sort of situations. Is that correct?
Well, every scene and situation is different. I didn't know how many shooters there were at the time pulling up. I didn't know how many officers were down. The only thing I knew was there were shots fired and calls for help.
Of course. And would you say it's part of your duties as a lieutenant to be able to make a quick scan and judgment of the situation playing out and deeming what is necessary to apprehend the suspect?
Is it necessary? I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
Oh, you're fine. I'm basically wanting to get an understanding of, as your duty as lieutenant, is it your duty to judge a situation, because you said they're all unique, and formulate a plan and dictate your fellow officers what they need to do to achieve the goals you're wanting to achieve?
As a supervisor, your general responsibility is to have command over your other officers and to help them uh, in any way you can.
Of course. Because it does sound to me that, like, when you said you arrived on scene, you saw many casualties, fellow officers, employees, and you jumped into action and you couldn't get in, correct? Is that correct?
I couldn't get what?
That the back door was barricaded and you had trouble reaching into the building to get to the shooter?
That's right.
Okay, so did you then calculate on scene, like you said, you got on the radio and you were trying your best to dictate who should go where and do what to apprehend this shooter? Would you say that's correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So it sounds to me that you're pretty knowledgeable and that people look up to you in your decision making on an active scene where their lives are at risk. Would you generally agree that your fellow officers trust your decision making?
I guess you could say that.
Okay, thank you. So now I want to look into you mentioning that you have had symptoms of sweats, nightmares, night sweats. You haven't been sleeping well. Have you taken any measures of helping these symptoms?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Sure. So it was brought up that you have night sweats, nightmares, you have a hard time sleeping, general anxiety. With all of these symptoms you are getting on a regular basis, would you say that you tried anything to help them, to help your condition?
Not really.
So you didn't try any different over-the-counter treatments to help sleep or stop nightmares or anything like that?
No.
Okay. Did you ever look into a therapeutic option where you could speak to a counselor or psychiatrist?
No.
And how long would you say you've been dealing with these symptoms?
Maybe a couple weeks.
Couple weeks? Okay. Did you notify anybody else in your department to let them acknowledge your current state of mind?
Did I notify?
Did you just notify anybody on your department about that?
Well, I took some vacation time shortly after that situation took place.
When you say shortly, do you mean when the symptoms started developing or when they worsened?
No, I mean shortly after the incident took place, I took some vacation time.
Are you regarding to the incident being today's incident at Up and Adam?
The incident, the scene I responded to.
Okay, just to clarify, because I assume you respond to many scenes. Can you describe what day or what scene you are referring to?
The scene at Up and Adam with multiple officers and civilians who were shot.
Okay, understood. Can you confirm with me, because I show on the report that this happened on the date of the 5th, which is today, so you're saying that after today you went to go take vacation time?
No, this incident happened about 2 or 3 weeks prior, and approximately about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And shortly after that, I did take vacation time.
Okay, so again, to clarify, so you're saying a separate scene than what happened today happened at Up and Adam a few weeks ago.
No, the scene that we're discussing happened 2 weeks ago.
Okay, I see. I see. So, how many days did you take off for your vacation time?
About a week.
How did you feel when you came back from your vacation?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, no, you're fine. How did you feel when you returned from your vacation?
Pretty shitty as well. No real change.
No real change? Okay, did you, when you took your vacation time, did you notify fellow officers the reason? Sorry if you need me to stop, I'll stop. When you originally took that vacation time, did you notify your fellow officers the reason why you're taking this vacation time?
I did not.
Okay. So when you left and when you came back, nobody else was aware of the symptoms that you had been having.
I object.
Is that
The
correct?
symptoms after the fact has nothing to do with what happened after.
Well, I mean, if I'm wrong, you can tell me, but it seems like when you examined Lieutenant Amiri, you had brought up his state of mind, his well-being, his PTSD symptoms as well. So I'd like to further divulge into that information which you brought up as relevant to his state of mind during
We won't go that far off topic, but you can go into a little bit detail. We're going to try to stay on topic as much as we can.
Okay, will do. Last question regarding this, because I think we got a lot of it. So, if you had a fellow officer who came up to you as their lieutenant, as their supervisor, their superior, and they tell you they feel they are having symptoms similar to yours that may show signs of PTSD that has not been diagnosed, would you allow them to go on regular duty with a weapon and go to the front lines? Or would you try to help them improve before putting them on the front lines?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, I'll shorten it a little bit. So, say a fellow officer
That's
comes to you
crazy.
as your superior and tells you they're having similar symptoms. How would you respond to them?
If they came to me with symptoms, I would try to tell them, well, I would try to direct them to somebody else. Generally, I'm not really qualified.
That sounds close.
I'm not really qualified to help people with that. I would try to direct them to somebody else who is.
Would you feel comfortable with them having a weapon in their hands on an active scene on frontline duty?
Well, I don't see why not.
Okay. So they said that during the scene you were directing, and you had seen a lot of mess up stuff, and would you say you were angry at the moment, or more angry after things had calmed down and you were in the hospital?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
Yeah. So it was mentioned that you had felt angry after seeing and witnessing everything you saw with your fellow officers dead. Would you say you felt angry on scene during the act of shooting? Or it was afterwards in the hospital when you were ready to process your emotions a little bit later?
I would say I was angry overall.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit more about what happened in that room after you felt the shock and anger at hearing this man survived those grievous injuries? You mean repeat that, I will.
I saw him standing inside the room. He was surrounded by, there were, I believe, 3 or 4 officers in the room.
Yep.
And shortly after I walked in, we exchanged, maybe a couple words.
And what did you do? With those feelings. We have it from multiple people that you pointed a weapon. But what would you say exactly happened after you felt those emotions?
I'm sorry. What is the question?
So you say that you saw him alive in the room. You felt shock initially that he survived his grievous wounds, and you got angry. You had overall anger. What did you do after feeling that? What were your actions after going through those emotions? What did you do?
I pulled my weapon out of my holster. I aimed it at the suspect's head and pulled the trigger.
Do you feel that being angry, being in shock, was the reason you did that?
Being in shock was.
Do you believe that your emotions at that time were the reason you shot him?
Partially.
If partially, what else was the motive?
I mean, I would say, I wouldn't say partially. I would say mostly.
Okay. Even so, mostly other than how you were feeling in that moment, what else would make you shoot this man that's in cuffs and not posted?
I can't really exactly recall my thought process at the time.
Okay. That is fine. Have you ever had another incident where your emotions took over and you shot somebody in a situation where they posed no threat to you?
On advice of my counsel, I'm going to invoke my Fifth Amendment against privilege and self-incrimination and decline to answer your question.
Understood. No
Plaintiff side, do you have any more witnesses? If not, we'll proceed.
I do not.
The defendant side, you guys don't. Plaintiff side, you guys?
we do not have any further witnesses.
Okay. Mr. Mary, take his original seat. Now, we'll go with closing statements before we do get to deliberation by the jurors. And I'll give the rules for the deliberation. First, we'll start off with the plaintiff side for the closing statements, then we'll go to the defendant side. In this case, we originally started in that same order. That's so the defendant side can have final words. They can actually properly defend themselves against the plaintiff's closing statements. State Attorney Crow.
Understood.
And this one, and no disrespect to either one of you guys, so we can get out of here, this one will be timed. Closing statements will be exactly 3 minutes each. No more than that. If it's more than that, I'll just have you sit down.
Understood. Am I ready to go?
Yeah, you may proceed.
Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to say on behalf again of LSPD that no matter the state of someone's mind at the time, there is absolutely no reason an officer shall kill an unarmed, handcuffed person, no matter what they may have done or otherwise. Mr. Lieutenant Amiri knew he was not in a sound state of mind for time before this occurred and did not notify anybody nor seek treatment, and felt he was fine on the front lines and has posed a threat to society. Clearly, this manifested today as it caused one man to lose his life. It obstructed the ability for this man to be provided a fair and equal trial in the state of law. It has caused a family to grieve the loss of a son, a brother, a friend. For what? Because one man could not say that he was not in the right state of mind over his position. He has years in the industry. He has comprehension of the procedures and policies, and this man knew what he was doing was wrong, but he felt that he should do it anyway. And even he says that it wasn't 100% emotionally done out of emotion. And his motive had other things in it, but yet refused to say. This is the man that you want protecting you and your family, your children, your brother. We must teach officers that they are here to protect and serve, and we need to feel safe with who's in charge. As a lieutenant, treating our civilians that way, no matter what they have done, they have the right to a fair trial and not to be executed because a cop could not handle their responsibilities. Please think, if this is the man you want protecting your life, at the end of the day, protecting you and those of whom you love. That is all.
Defendant's closing statement.
All right, first let me start off by saying this man has been doing this city a great justice with all the time he's put in. He has risked his life multiple times to save individuals and bring justice down to them. He witnessed a lot of things that day of this supposed gang causing chaos and shooting innocent individuals. If anything, this man did everyone a favor and made us all safer out here on the streets, getting rid of these gang members that are targeting innocent people. And he probably saved numerous, if not hundreds of lives by taking this man down. They want to bring up family of the man. Everyone that person shot and killed, the family and brothers and loved ones. Anyone here, every officer here, every person in the jury and gang member in the seats would have done the same thing and ended that man's life in retaliation. I'd say this guy did nothing wrong and he made it all safer for us in the end of the day. Gangs are a terrible people, and most of them are terroristic groups that just bring chaos to the city. That's all I can say.
Now for deliberation, I'll stand up. Let's see, what time is it? You guys will have exactly 6 minutes to deliberate. I believe the lead person is Mr. John Robinson. Normally we'd have it to where you guys would have to have a unanimous decision, but in this case it's going to be by vote. I will come in and see if you guys are done. If you guys do stick to the foreperson who was picked, Mr. John Robinson, then I will call upon him whenever you guys do come out, and I'll ask if you guys could come to a decision, and then I'll find out the verdict and we'll discuss that. And then in this case, we'll do it a little bit different. We'll negotiate jail time as well in front of everyone, so at least that part is including the state attorney and his attorney as well. You guys do have 6 minutes, so I'll let you in back here.
Everybody on whisper.
Everybody on whisper.
We'll just deliberate for about 6 minutes. I'll start the clock now.
Okay, let's just mosh pit this.
Yeah, we should all just mosh pit on top of each other.
There we go. Okay. Can I just say something real quick?
You're whispering?
Yes.
Yeah, you loud as hell. I ain't gonna hold you.
Shit, sorry. Okay, from the way that I see it, and this is just me personally, there's no defense nor is there any justification for a man being judge, jury, and executioner. And defense's statement of making it seem like revenge, plus the fact that he was projecting his beliefs and his opinions in the courtroom, I think is a very big no-no.
Yeah, he was leading.
He was leading. There were so many points of which somebody should have just said objection. Like, guys, come on. That was fucking terrible. But no,
can
I
say
feel
something regarding it too.
yeah.
It's so very important here. We've all seen the video evidence, correct?
Oh, I'm not saying
Yes.
yeah, I
Yeah.
know
Right.
that.
Yeah, it was very
wait,
blatant.
wait,
I have
no, just wait. What about every cop who was in the room who laughed after he did it?
Yeah, they should be charged with negligence and.
They all should be held responsible
But
too.
no, you don't deserve to go to jail.
I mean,
Yeah.
how many cops are around? I have to look back at it. I think
He doesn't
there's
deserve to go to
4
jail
officers there, and nobody arrested him.
Oh well, we didn't see far enough ahead to see.
But they all laughed, and then it cut out. I heard laughter. Personally,
Agreed.
I did too,
I
yeah.
also think that also ties into the fact that, let's be quite honest, no one was taking that entire situation professionally. This is
Charges.
anybody that is seen within any sort of government,
So
like
we can't recommend other charges. We're just gonna look at the ones that he.
Yeah. I just personally think official misconduct and reckless endangerment. Those two I don't agree with.
Also.
I think firing a weapon towards the direction of a window that could hit a car on a highway is reckless endangerment. So
I mean,
as
they're
well as the
at the
fact
top.
that
They're
if
at
there
the
was
top
ricochet
floor.
in that room, then the other officers' lives were in danger.
We use certain bullets that don't go through the body.
The official misconduct, I agree that's not relevant.
If you're talking FMJ, that will completely go through the body.
Like, my reason for the reckless endangerment is due to the fact he is a trained officer. He made it to lieutenant. Clearly, he's trained with a firearm.
And he's
It
already
does not.
getting.
To be quite honest with you, I personally
he
don't
wasn't
feel like it
arrested.
matters.
I mean,
It does matter.
So
If we're
It's the
talking in
fact
city,
that
it does
he,
matter.
with full knowledge of his actions, and he's even admitted fully in the courtroom completely what he did and his state
Yeah.
of mind.
It's not
It's the
reckless
fact that
endangerment,
he
though.
willingly and purposefully fired a weapon within close quarters into a suspect that was completely unarmed, right where there was a window, because there's quite literally a window back
So what
there.
they're really doing is they're just trying to throw a bunch of charges on him. If anything, reckless endangerment and unlawful discharge need to be thrown off, and negligent discharge of a firearm should have been thrown on there.
I agree.
But they didn't do that.
Drop
So,
that shit, and we'll just
I'd
do
say
like the
drop
big ones.
unlawful discharge and reckless endangerment, not guilty.
Yeah,
I
and that's just
disagree. The only thing I
need
can
to
see
leave-
them really needing to like throw out
if
would
you
be
really
like
go-
official
You guys had
You
misconduct.
really
6
go to the
minutes. Do you
code
need
of
more
law,
time or
though?
no?
Yes,
Yeah. If
Yes,
you really go
please.
back to the code
How
of
much
law,
more time do you guys need?
a little
it's
bit.
not-
2 more minutes.
another, yeah. If you go to the code of law,
Just
though,
need 2 more
those
minutes.
Gonna be
two
more than
have
2 minutes.
Really nothing to do.
How do you
with
guys
that.
feel about reckless endangerment staying, but the other two drop? Because reckless
Which other
endangerment can
two?
cover a good field of it, but the unlawful discharge of a firearm, say no to, and the
I disagree with that. I think
because that's a
reckless.
redundant charge.
It is.
It
I
is
know, but I'm
Yeah,
genuinely
just
just do that,
stating
just do
my
that.
opinion.
Yeah, let's just it's
My
just
No, no,
stack
no,
it.
opinion
so,
is
Marina,
keep
so
it.
the
Well, regardless,
logic
we're
of
gonna
the
take a vote.
charge
Regardless, we're gonna
doesn't-
take a vote anyway. So you could
Sometimes
just
they're called stack charges, so they'll just beef
Yeah.
up by putting like 4 or 5 of the same kind of overlaps. So you can argue that, and that's very commonly argued. So I wouldn't be opposed to like just that, because that one makes sense for
regardless,
redundancy.
yeah, it's gonna come down to a vote anyway. So you explained it. What other ones? So second-degree murder. That one's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Abuse of public office.
I think we
pretty
need to
obvious.
get
Alright, a vote
official
on
numbers
every-
of who's in
every
favor of each
charge.
individual one. So
Yeah.
abuse
Robinson,
of
you want to
public.
take a note?
I'll.
Here, I can write this
Oh,
shit down.
yeah.
Yeah, I got.
Okay.
Just go
Okay,
ahead.
so we're gonna do the same thing, all right? Everybody that thinks he's
No, let's
guilty
just
on
stay
whatever
here
charges.
so that we can hear
Right.
everybody.
Okay, so
Hands
how about
up
this?
Hands up.
We'll
for-
do individually.
Butcher.
We just ask everybody
Yes.
individually.
Okay.
Right,
So second degree murder, guilty, not guilty.
No, watch.
up.
Easier way to do. Easier way
Just
to
put
do
your
this.
hands up. That
No,
way,
John,
that
that's
way
not
we could
easier,
just
bro.
tally a
Just go by
marker.
the charge and everyone puts their hands up for each
Yeah.
charge.
So second degree murder.
Yeah.
All right, guilty.
Okay, so
Next one.
okay.
Abuse of public office.
I can't put my hands up, so I'm just gonna. Oh shit! What the fuck?
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
They won't let me put my hands up, but I'm putting mine up as well,
7.
metaphorically.
Okay, so
Guilty.
7. That's guilty.
Oh, there we go.
Next one is unlawful discharge of a firearm. Not
It's
guilty.
redundant. There's
Not
no
guilty.
point.
Obstruction of justice. Guilty. Sorry. Official misconduct.
That is obstruction
Not
of justice.
guilty.
It's literally the same thing.
I don't care. It's my opinion.
What did I just read? Official misconduct? Alright. Reckless endangerment. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Robinson, what are you up? 1, 2,
Nah.
3,
I don't think you should stick.
6
Okay.
out of 10, right?
How many people are in here?
There's 12 of us. Oh, I thought there was.
Just majority.
Hold on. One more tally for reckless endangerment.
Go ahead.
It's
We're on
done.
the
Oh,
last
we're
one
good.
here.
1,
just a
2,
moment.
Okay,
3,
that's
4,
fair.
5, 6. 1, 2,
Yeah.
3,
Yeah,
5.
4,
That's guilty.
5. Alright, it's guilty. We're good?
That's it?
Wait, no,
Wait,
failure.
failure to appear in
Failure
court.
was added, remember?
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was an
Oh, okay.
hour
Let's
late.
all be real. Let's all be fucking real.
Okay.
If anything, hey, we want to ask for them to. You guys
Okay,
okay with
wait,
this?
wait.
Hold
Last
on,
thing.
let me finish.
Jail
Bitch,
time.
hold on. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is everybody okay with him sentencing or requesting that he go to jail for the amount of time that he added to how much time he made us wait, which was, I believe, about an hour?
So that added extra on.
Added extra on.
So waiving his time served because he made us wait, basically, is what we can
No,
say?
no. He's
That's
still gonna
not
go.
something a jury can
he's-
actually request.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I mean,
Based
he
off
made
of
us fucking
time
wait
said
an
we
hour.
could.
No, we
Yeah,
can just
it
say
straight up
guilty
said
or
that
not
we can-
guilty.
And he said about the
Yes,
shooting
but we
outside
also
too.
have to give him a total amount of time if he's guilty for how long he's going to serve now.
They're already done with.
I
They
feel like
said
it's the
that-
same thing that
What
we
did they
just.
say? What did they say was the max we could send him for?
1,100.
Okay,
we
yeah,
do
that's
that?
not
I think he was
no.
just telling us about that. I don't think
Yeah,
I think
1,000 is
If we're
ridiculous.
asked about jail time, I personally believe the time that he gets sentenced for via the charges and then an hour added extra for making us all wait.
Yeah, just
I'm
do
good
that.
with
So
that
we'll
too.
like.
All right, vote on it real quick. Everybody agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah.
John,
All right.
real quick, what do you got for
Yeah.
the votes? Just real quick, what are your guilties and not guilties?
I mean, everything guilty except for official misconduct, unlawful
Gotta
discharge.
Try to get in.
No,
Yeah,
no,
made a
brother,
decision
come
already?
in.
obstruction of justice was not.
Come in.
allowed
You
on
guys
the
already
discharge.
done?
Oh, then I fucked
We're
that.
done.
up. I
Is
did the
one-
two wrong things.
That's
Is
why
one-
I was asking.
Is
So,
one
Come in.
person?
obstruction
Is
of
one
justice
person?
and unlawful that are not guilty.
Oh,
Is
you're
one
inside.
person as a 4-person going to say the charges? Or I gotta find out from you guys.
All right.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
that's perfect.
You're gonna have to man up and go out there.
You got that, John?
Yeah,
What was it
yeah.
about?
So
Okay.
obstruction, not,
And unlawful.
and unlawful, not.
Those
Okay.
are the only two notes.
I get acquitted.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going out there.
Okay.
You guys give her, give me one of your. You better give me one of your guns, because I'm gonna.
Is he?
Hello.
Are you fucking serious? He's threatening everybody?
I don't think he's threatening anyone, man.
If I was threatening you,
Anybody
no.
else want to read out this shit?
Okay.
I'm worried about my safety right now.
Okay,
Yo.
now
Hey
we're.
man,
now
you
we're
got the right to
discussing.
bear arms, man. You know.
Jesus Christ! He just threatened John Robinson.
In this case, you do want to have the plaintiff and defendant stand up for this, but you do want to have at least 1 or 2 officers ready to cuff him as well, in case he is found guilty for anything.
Johnson's got him.
But on this side first, before he is cuffed, if he is cuffed, the plaintiff side, I know Lieutenant Rome does want to have a brief discussion with him. He's not armed, he's not going to shoot him, but a brief discussion close to the
you want to
defendant.
put the handcuffs on me so bad, it's cool.
Just wait for Lieutenant Rome to at least have some. Lieutenant Rome, would you want to have that type of communication now or the verdict first?
Verdict.
Okay. On the count of abuse of public office, jury, your decision?
Guilty.
On the count of obstruction of justice, what's
Not
the
guilty.
decision? me see. Give me 1 second. I gotta bring up the menu for that. Just start
Bruh,
on
that's
charge
not what we
probably
agreed on.
13-7. Abuse of public office, guilty. Obstruction of justice, not guilty. Official misconduct.
Guilty.
Reckless endangerment.
Guilty.
Second-degree murder.
Guilty.
Unlawful discharge of a firearm.
Not guilty.
Huh?
That I'll give some small explanation on that for that. Unlawful discharge normally is like a charge that's flexibility on that brandishing in the city because we already know he's been found guilty of the second-degree murder charge, so it's basically added charge you can get away with. Failure to appear in court. Now on that, for jail time, did you guys discuss that, or are you leaving it to myself? Jail time, how many months are you wanting?
Recommended sentence plus 60 months added on top for making the whole court and city wait.
Okay, Lieutenant Rome, whatever you do want to have a conversation with him, you are able to do that with the defendant now.
All right, so I guess case adjourned.
I'll let you guys do that first, and then I'll adjourn after I get ready and send him off.
Okay.
Off the streets. Fuck yeah.
Hey, keep talking over there. Keep talking.
Lieutenant Rome did request to do that as well.
What?
Now in this case, court
Oh,
is
hey,
adjourned.
I
Now in
get
this
it,
case,
man.
court is adjourned, and the officers who are next to the defendant, if you guys can, double check him before he is sent off. The sentence with the 70 and additional 60 is 160 months total.
I tried my
Let me
best,
double
man. I
check
tried my
everything
best.
first.
Hey, man.
Thank you,
I'll see you when I'm out.
I
Jurors,
tried,
if you
man.
want your phones back, come
Can you
see me.
repeat that one more time? What was the sentence and everything?
Hey,
the fines?
you with the bandana, you keep that smug expression up there.
130
You're
months,
gonna
70
see.
plus
You're gonna
the
see.
requested additional 60.
Hey, man, keep
Oh, yeah.
So 100. Jesus, so that. 130.
I don't want to have
Yeah,
to
they asked for
jail,
additional
man.
60.
Okay.
You're gonna see. You're gonna see real quick.
Fines?
I was taking the road by
Fines, he had, let me double check.
You keep it up, I'll come up and join you.
He had everything, but I believe 2 charges, so it was more than.
I hope you have
Oh,
a
really?
wonderful time in there.
I'm not talking about when we're in jail. You want to be in jail?
Before he says anything else, I did send him off.
Hey, look forward.